So that's, I mean, Philippians 4:19, my God will supply all your needs according to his riches. Typically, I've heard down through the years that God will supply your needs. And then the follow-up point to that is they say it's his riches that he's going to supply you from. He owns the cattle on 1,000 hills, right? And so when you look at that, you look at that explanation, you think, well, I got no worries, man. He's going to take care of, what I need. And of course, the word need is really the crux. It's the issue there, right? So out of context is we're never going to be in want. I mean, if you look at that just a cursory look, and you don't look at it critically like I'm talking about, you're going to conclude, hey, I'm never going to be in want for anything. And what is that but straight up progressive lies? And because you look around the world, you think there are believers around the world who, like in third, fourth world countries, who don't have needs? You better believe there are. There are plenty of Christians. So I guess they're either according to a progressive preacher, they're either living in sin or they just don't have enough faith. Because look, man, the Bible says that God will supply your needs. And then they start heaping that guilt on you. Well, you don't have enough faith. And so taking things out of context is so devastating. And so that's why, I was telling you a minute ago to always, be critical, not to criticize, but to look critically and analytically and make sure that a verse is not taken out of context. And so the context of Philippians 4:19 is those who give to the work of the ministry. God says, if you're giving to the work of the ministry, I'm going to supply your needs. And so you give, and you maybe you give sacrificially, maybe you keep giving more, and God says, if you're the person who's given to the furtherance of the gospel, I'm going to take care of your needs. Now, the word wants is not in that verse.
Right.
So that's another big deal. Another example is Luke 6:38, give and it shall be given to you. And it's the same idea there. You just can't, and we're going to look in a minute at Galatians 6:7. You can't manipulate God. You can't make a mockery of God. And
that's how the progressive pastors, they'll take verses like that, 6:13, Luke, and run with it.
Somebody who is a wordsmith, a lot of preachers and singers and songwriters, they write songs for a reason, because words and concepts and ideas flow. And so they write songs. And so if you don't take that gift of being a wordsmith, if you don't take that gift of being able to, to write books or whatever, and we say sanctify that gift by giving it to God and letting him give you that desire to accurately represent him, right? If you don't do that, well, then you could just start preaching anything. And that's exactly what's happened. That's exactly what progressive preachers do. They, like 2 Timothy 4, verse 3 and 4, man, they're going to surround, people are going to surround themselves with preachers who are going to tell them what they want to hear and make them feel good about themselves. And you're not all that bad. And all these things, just to make them feel good about themselves. And so whatever gift you and I have, we want to give that to God. We want to sanctify that. We want to use it for God's glory and not our own, and use it in such a way that, reflects his character. And that takes work, man. I've had, in fact, Rashawn said this. He said, man, this is work. You start having to keep things in context rather than, just make a metaphor out of everything. That's work. if you're a wordsmith and you're good with words and phrases and catchphrases and stuff, and you're able to, make a metaphor out of everything, man, you could get a following easy, and it happens every day around the globe. So yeah. So that's just some examples there of keeping a verse in the context. And so if you're looking at verse 19, you let verse 18 and verse 20 interpret verse 19. And then you let 16 and verse 21 interpret that. And then verse 15 and verse 22 interpret. You keep it all together so that it all helps interpret itself, rather than taking it out of context to say something that's not true. And that takes work.